Fan cams, club news, transfer news, match previews, legend interviews, Spurs winning, press conferences, covering everything Tottenham and England.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast, where, of course, in this edition, we'll be talking about every single thing Tottenham Hotspur related, the transfer window, looking ahead to the new season. And believe it or not, our first pre-season friendly is just 17 days away. That will be the Hearts away game on the 19th of July. The Leicester City away game is now 52 days away, and the transfer window closes in 63 days. So hopefully it is going to be a very, very busy window for Tottenham Hotspur. We will also be discussing the Euros. All four Spurs players at the Euros are now through to the last 16 with their respective countries, which is great news. But before we get into it, I would just like to say a big thank you to every single listener and viewer to this channel, because we have hit 80 million views on this channel, which is simply unbelievable. And it all started with panels, and those of you that were here from the very start, you will understand exactly what I mean. Ricky Norwood, you're one of them. Also proud to be a part of the TalkSport fan network, which of course is a fantastic network to be a part of, so really proud of that. And I'm also very proud to say that this is the most watched YouTube channel from a Tottenham Hotspur perspective every month during 2024, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much to everybody who has tuned in during 2024. And remember to check out the channel sponsors, Alloy Collectors for all of your metal Spurs collectibles, Echo 61 for some fantastic Legends nights, TalkSport, of course, they're broadcasting 24 hours a day, and Zooch Converters, specialist supplier and manufacturers in foam, tapes and sealing solutions. I can't even get my words out today. I know someone who can get their words out, and that is actor Ricky Norwood. Ricky, how are you?
I am well. So nice to be back on the pod. It's great to be on with all of you beautiful people. And Chris, I've got to say, I'm loving that new top. Just from this perspective right now, wearing the new top with the little navy around the collar and the sleeves, it looks quite sharp, my friend. So yes, happy to be back on. Happy to be talking Tottenham Hotspur, and can't wait to jump in.
We've also got channel regular Craig Dearman back with us. I think Craig is the only person to have more appearances on this podcast than Ricky Norwood. Craig, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
You love that stat, don't you?
I do. It must be about 106 now, 107. So it must be about 20 more than Rick. But yeah, all good. Yeah, looking forward to the England game Sunday. Yes, absolutely. We'll get into that. Also back with us is Italian journalist and channel regular Simone Delumo. Simone, great to have you here. How are you?
Thank you, guys. It's always brilliant to be back. I'm fine. Euros are always fascinating, something different. So we are absolutely enjoying them.
Simone, how's your summer so far, and how are you enjoying the Euros?
Yeah, I'm enjoying them a lot, to be honest. A lot. There are always something different to the club football. So once in 2 years, they are very nice to look at. Something different. Yeah, great.
Ricky, let's come to you on the Euros, because, of course, England are through to the last 16, as are Italy, who we'll talk about in a minute, Simone. But, Ricky, what have you made of the Euros so far? I know we'll talk about the four Spurs players representing their countries at the moment, but overall, England, it hasn't been that great, although we are unbeaten in the competition. Billy Carnes writes here, Southgate out. You know, of course, I was at the Euros for a week, only come back yesterday. It was at the latest England game. It wasn't that great, but we are through to the last 16. How confident are you that England can go on and actually lift this trophy?
Do you know what? We're on the right side of the draw, so you know anything can happen. We haven't seen the best of England as yet. We have had half an hour of outstanding display in that first game, and it's almost cruel because they gave us a taster of what the greatness of England could look like, and then they ripped it away from us within that first half of that first game, and we haven't seen it again, which is a shame. The team itself seems a bit unbalanced, a bit individualistic. You know, we ain't cohesive as a team as yet. And not everybody's pushing and moving as one as yet. And it seems at the moment, especially in the last game, it just seemed a bit kind of panicked stricken. You know, it was rushed, it was forced. There was one bit of natural play when Saka scored that offside goal. And that was great to see. But yeah, it's been a bit crazy. So I'm hoping that Southgate changes it up come Sunday. I'm hoping that Gordon plays. I'm hoping that Palmer gets a go. You know, if you want to be outrageous, I know it's for Southgate, not for us. But I might chuck Kane in at 10 and Watkins up front, and then go with Rice and Bellingham in midfield. Or if Bellingham's feeling it, then go in with Mainu. So yeah, there's loads of imbalance. There's loads of kind of, it seems like bickering right now. There was one thing that troubled me in the second game against Denmark, and it was the casual nature of England. The way that they came out and was warming up just before the first half, and then especially in the second half, there was a shot on TV where the whole team were coming from the dressing room to the pitch. And you would think after a rollicking or after a bit of a G up and a refocus at half time that every one of them would be pumped, and you'd see their body language like ready to go and like, let's go and show them something. They were very lackadaisical. They were very casual. They were very solemn. Do you know what I mean? It looked like they just come from a spa weekend rather than going out there to kind of go and win a match or go to battle. So that was a little bit troubling for me when I saw that. But you know what? We haven't played great, and with all of those things that I've just said there, we have topped the group. We are through to the knockouts. We're on the right side of the draw, so who knows what could happen if this team clicks. But I don't. If I go with my heart of hearts, I don't really think it's going to happen right now. It feels like that England of old, that has all the promise, that has all the individuals, and that has, you know, some outstanding superstars, but then just can't come together and you know, knit it all together to be a cohesive unit and a cohesive team. So that's what's troubling me right now. I hope that they do click, and I hope that they do go from strength to strength. But they need a big performance, not just a result. We've had the results. We've finished up with the group. They need big performances, and they need to build on those big performances, and they need to be encouraged to go out there and be brave and to take risks and to go for it. You know what I mean? We want to see Premiership football. The same style of Premiership football, the same pace, and the things that make Premiership football great. We want to see that in our England side, and it's a shame that we don't see that, especially when other sides like Italy, like Spain, like the Germans, you know, they all have their way of playing, and they all have a specific style, and you always kind of see that. It always seems like England are kind of figuring it out always. So they always seem a bit like in limbo, but I would love them to embrace their own style and bravery and pace and power and go for it and show us what they can do.
It's funny, Ricky, everything you said there, it's like you've been on the podcast in the last couple of years talking about Spurs. It's quite similar, isn't it?
It is a little bit similar, but I tell you what, it didn't remind me. England this time didn't remind me of Spurs. They actually reminded me of Man United, and Man United being in their poor period. You know, not the FA Cup win, but that poor period where they've got individuals, where they've spent money, and you know, we just haven't seen Man United be Man United. They've flopped many a time, and they've flopped against sides that they should never have flopped against. So it's actually reminded me more of last season's Man United or seasons previous of Man United than it did of Tottenham. But it is very frustrating supporting Tottenham and England at the same time. I don't know how you do it, Chris.
It's hard sometimes. Craig, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on the Euros so far. And what I really want to know is which players have caught your eye during the tournament so far, and who would you like to see in a Spurs shirt after the Euros?
Well, as most people will know, I've banged on about Eze continually. I actually wanted him when he was at QPR, so I really love to see us get that one over the line. I'll tell you what, there was a couple of lads.
You don't mention that much, Craig.
I don't. I'm hoping, if everyone mentions it enough, then the club will just, because it's not just us. There's other people saying, not everyone's a fan of it. I get that, but it's a kind of statement sign, isn't it? But there's a couple of lads, and forgive me, I don't know their names, in that Georgian team. I tell you what they lack in superstar players, you cannot deny that they just give everything, didn't they? It was just fantastic to watch. But they've got a real good couple of players. One of the lads that scored, and I can't remember his name, but I'm not saying Spurs should sign him, but you could do a lot better than a lot worse, than sign somebody like that. That just that passion is just fantastic. I wouldn't say loads of other players that caught me eye, other than Shaqiri, who seems to turn up at every tournament, and you don't hear from him again. He's an unbelievable finish in one of those games. He just seems to turn up. You get players like that, didn't you? What I'd say about England, just leading on from what Rick was saying, we've had slow starts in many a tournament before. Euro 96 didn't start particularly well. We had a 1-1 draw with Switzerland. The first half against Scotland wasn't that good. And then obviously we had Gazza's goal and Shearer's header. The Holland game was the one that really kicked us on, but the quarter-final weren't all that against Spain, So you just trying to look on the bright side. You're not going to, or rarely do you see a team, if ever, absolutely trounce other teams through the group stage and have a clear run right through to the final and win the final. It just doesn't happen like that. I don't think anybody is outstanding. You could argue Spain have been playing reasonably well, but the Germans, I think they're beatable. The Italians, I don't think are what they were. France haven't been a patch on what we expect them to be. So, I think Portugal are a danger. They've got some really good players, really good team. But I personally think that we've got a good chance of anybody getting to the final in the side of the draw we're in. In fact, we should be getting at least to the semis with the side of the draw we're in. But they won't get there if they don't improve, as we all know, on how they played in the group. So, but somebody was talking to me about Harry Kane not looking fit, and I said, well, any Spurs fan will tell you when Harry's been out for more than 3 or 4 weeks, he's always slow coming back. The first few games, he might be fit, but he's not match fit. And that's why that's Harry Kane. He's one of those types of players. He just takes a few games to get back into it. But I want to see him further up the pitch, as good as he is at being a playmaker. How many times have we said that about Harry Kane? You just want to see him in that number 9 position. So, yeah, there's work to do, definitely. But I think this is the first time Southgate and the team have kind of come under a decent amount of criticism. So, this is new for them, over the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, it's been pretty good vibes, hasn't it? And now, they're getting a bit of flack. So look, they've just got to go out there and put everything right on Sunday. And I think you couldn't really ask for a better draw at the moment against Slovakia. So yeah, fingers crossed it goes our way.
Craig, I'm going to put my neck out there. I'm going to say that I think it's going to be an England v Spain final. What are you going for?
Oh, I think if we get past Italy, because they've been obviously the last final, they turned us over. I think if we, obviously assuming we win Sunday, I think if we get past Italy, we'll get to the final. That's what I think. So who out the other side of the draw, I don't know. I personally would say Portugal. But look, it could be anyone. But I think that's the key match for me. The quarterfinal, should we get there? And obviously Italy, no given that they get there. Sorry, Simone, but there's no given that Italy do get past this Switzerland they've got. So it's that's a tough match. That I couldn't call that. In fact, I really couldn't. But if we get past Italy, I think we'll get to the final.
There are so many good teams in the competition, though. I was lucky enough to go to that Germany v Switzerland game, and Switzerland played out their skins that evening, and I think the Germans were quite taken back. But you never, ever write the Germans off, that famous saying, because in Dortmund, I went into the German Football Museum. My God, I've been in some trophy cabinets before in my life, but that was unbelievable. 4 World Cup trophies, 3 European Championship trophies. That is a trophy cabinet. That is why you never write the Germans off. Simone, let's come to you because, of course, Italian journalist, you live in Italy, you live and breathe football. Italy are through to the last 16 against Switzerland. If you win this game, if England beat Slovakia on Sunday, it means that Italy will face England. How have you seen England during this competition so far? Do you think there's a lot more to come from England? And what do you think about your chances from an Italian point of view?
Yeah, of course. Just to start, of course, I'm proudly Italian. I'm Italian, I'm proudly so. But of course, I love English people. I love you all guys, and I really love England. So, what I would like to say, or to be honest, what I wouldn't like to say is once again Italy playing England once again, just like 3 years ago in Wembley for the final. So, well, Italy are at the start of a project. They are a very young team. The start of a project, they probably know that they are not going to win the Euros once again, but they are trying to build something strong for the future and arguably, possibly for America in 2026. So we are talking about a different contest. England are completely different because England are or were supposed to be ready to win the tournament. But of course, we are talking about, in my opinion, one of the worst teams that I have seen in this competition in terms of being a team, in terms of being a proper team. There is no togetherness, and for me, Gareth Southgate has come to the end of its journey. There are many doubts. It's not about just playing well, because it's not necessary that you should play well, entertaining football or stuff like that. You can defend, and Southgate, we all know that he's a very defensive-minded coach, but you should players in the right position. We are seeing many mistakes. Trippier playing on the left, Phil Foden playing on the left. There is no balance in midfielder. Harry Kane, where is the brilliancy of Harry Kane? When he can drop, when he can play as a number 10, when he can find left wingers in the space, just like he used to do with Sonny. There is Marcus Rashford that is in Italy with me, but he is in Sardinia. Jack Grealish is in Sardinia. There are many big players that have been left home. There are so many top players. He justified what he did to select his players about the condition, the form. But what's the point of bringing players like Eze, Palma, or players like them, Anthony Gordon, the same Anthony Gordon, and don't give them time to show, to express themselves? So I'm seeing many mistakes. Of course, you know more than me that Gareth Southgate, in terms of results, he was one of the best English manager to be the head coach of Three Lions in the last couple of years. But if you think about, for example, 2018 in Russia, England decided to lose to Belgium, to play Colombia, to play Ukraine on quarterfinals, and to play Croatia on semifinals. As well, in the Euros in 2021, they play, of course, Germany in the last 16, but they as well play Ukraine in the last 8, Denmark in the semifinals. So they were absolutely lucky in terms of being top. And then you see that Gareth Southgate in his prime was already missing something. At the same time, in the final in Wembley against Italy, 1-0 up after 30 seconds, you should kill the opponent, you should kill the game. And then you start to drop, you start to defend. And he does not know either to defend, just like the Italians used to do. So, of course, Italy versus England in the last 8, Italy have got many troubles because, I repeat, they are a young team, but they've got a genius on the bench. Luciano Spalletti is one of the best of the last 20 years in terms of being a proper coach on the bench. But they are building. They know already that they are not going to win the Euros, but they are building something strong in the future, just like Germany and Spain. Both Germany and Spain accepted to do in the last couple of years. Germany and Spain have failed so many times in the last Euros, in the last World Cup. And Italy are trying to build once again. They are very young. So, of course, I love England. I'm Italian. I don't want to see a last 8 between Italy and England. We'll see what's what's gonna happen. But of course, I wasn't impressed at all by English side.
If you don't want to see that, hopefully Switzerland knock you out in the next round then. Can I say that?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to wake up to a horse's head in your bed in the morning, bruv. You need to be careful. I'm telling you.
Yeah, definitely. But if England managed to win the Euros, it's going to be because they've got huge players. But you need to put these huge players in the right position, guys. And for me, they are missing Marcus Rashford a lot because, of course, he was not on form this season, but his characteristics are unique in this England side. And when you've got the like of Harry Kane, a proper number 10, you should bring whoever a player of Marcus Rashford. I remember 8 months ago, England beating Italy, England smashing Italy in Wembley. Marcus Rashford was absolutely unplayable. I didn't understand many players that were left home. Just like James Madders, for example. So there are players that I will bring day in, day out.
Simone, who would you predict to be in the final? Which two teams?
Well, it's tough to say because there are two parts of the final sides of Euros. France, Portugal, Spain, and Germany are all on the left. We have been absolutely lucky, guys, because Italy, England, Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland are all on the other side. So who's gonna see? For me, Portugal have got a huge roster, unbelievable players. We need to see if they can become a proper team. So on the left side, maybe one of Germany or Portugal. On our side, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to express myself. I just want to enjoy the Euros. But of course, I was quite impressed by Austria because they've got a huge manager, Rangnick. Of course, he failed at United, but he came to England in a very, very tough and transitional time for Man U. He did an unbelievable job with Austria. He did an unbelievable job with Leipzig. They are very continental. They know how to do the right things. They've got huge players, experienced one, just like Mark Arnautovic, Marcel Sabitzer, David Alaba. We'll see how far they can go. But of course, winning a group against the sides of Netherlands and France, frankly, is a huge achievement. Already is a huge achievement.
Ricky, what's your prediction for the final?
Oh, bro. I think Germany will be in it. I think Germany will be in it, and then I think it's a case of England, Italy, or someone kind of like on Austria that ends up doing like a Greece or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'd say Germany will be in the final though.
You're edging the bets. It's just like you named every team there.
Nearly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm so undecided right now, and it's tough to say England right now as well because you've seen a couple of their performances, and when you see their performances, it's not that we haven't got the point or we haven't progressed, but we can almost see that once we come up against one of the big boys that have got a balanced side, that have got a side that know their jobs, that players are playing in their rightful positions and stuff like that, you can almost see it go into pot. And that's what I don't want to say. Like, I need to see them click. I need to see more of that half an hour in the first game over a period of 90 minutes for me to go, do you know what? These are on it. When I saw that first half an hour in the first game, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely, we're going to win this because the pace, the power, Bellingham was everywhere. You know, Bellingham was absolutely everywhere. He announced himself, on the world stage for England. He's done it for Real Madrid, yes, but he done it for England in that half an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to come from here. And it just didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? And it fell off a cliff right now. So there's still hope. There's still positivity there. There are still silver linings. The fact that we have topped the group and we've got through not playing well, it's kind of a good thing. It takes me back to that time that Portugal won it, where they didn't win a game in 90 minutes, did they? The whole tournament. And then they ended up winning the trophy. So there are times where teams are not playing well, but they still progress and they still make it happen. But it's all about this team. We know how much potential there is. We know how much youth there is. We know how much energy there is. in that side, and we're just not seeing it right now. So that's what makes me kind of hedge my bets.
Ricky, what have you made?
It, but I've been heartbroken so many times over England.
I know.
And saying that they're going to be in the final.
I just live in hope.
Yeah,
we've got to see a trophy soon as Spurs and England fans. We have to, surely, in our lifetime. Particularly England. Ricky, what have you made of the 4 Spurs players at Euro 2024? Of course, Vicario hasn't played yet for Italy. He's been an unused sub. Dragushin has been absolutely fantastic. Van der Ven has had limited minutes, but Højbjerg, what an unbelievable performance from him against England. What have you made of Dragushin in particular?
I think it's been fantastic to see Dragushin out there and playing consistent games. You see him solid. You see he's got a turn of pace. You see he's very intelligent. It's not just a typical defender. I think there's so much more to come from him, and it's been great to see him consistently playing. I think there's so much more to come from him, especially from a Tottenham's perspective. And I think that we've done a great bit of business in January to get him and to get him over Bayern Munich at the time that we did. So it's been great to see him perform, and it's been great to see him, play consistent games. And that definitely excites me. Vicario, it's always going to be tough with Donnarumma. Donnarumma, he's been the number 1 for a long time. Since he was 16, he was being groomed for the number 1 spot. Do you know what I mean? Underneath Buffon. So, it's tough to kind of take that spot. Van der Ven, I'm kind of happy that he's had limited time because it's saving those hamstrings and those muscles for when he gets back to Tottenham. So selfishly. And then with Højbjerg, I'm really kind of happy for him. I've said many a time, I've always thought Højbjerg got more stick than was fair. Yes, it's okay to be critical and him to have an off game, but he always puts everything out there, and he's always one that kind of stands up to responsibility, and he's one that kind of you can rely on as well to do the jobs that you're asking him to do. It's just that we need him to do a different job under Ange, and he doesn't fit that system. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I think his time has almost come to an end at Spurs. But I'm happy for Højbjerg. I'm happy he's put himself in the shop window. I'm happy that he showed everybody watching the Euros what a quality player he is. And wherever he goes, good luck to him, man. I don't have any hate or malice or anything like that towards him. I wish him well, and I thank him for all of the efforts and all of those consistent games that he played for us. Do you know what I mean? Where we run him into the ground. We ran him into the ground many a time. So I thank him for all of his time and his effort and his passion. And for being the strong Viking that he is, and I'm just happy that he's kind of shown what type of great player he is. He's gonna get a dynamite move after this Euros, and he deserves it.
Yeah, well said. Well, he's being linked with a move to Napoli at the moment under Antonio Conte and also Borussia Dortmund. Craig, let's come to you. Talking about Dragushin, how good he's been at the Euros. Do you think that there is a possibility that Ange can play all 3 of them, Romero, Van der Ven and Dragushin? Because when you see his performances at Euro 2024, a lot of us are thinking, how on earth can he not be in the team?
Yeah, no, it just goes to show what a player can do when they have a decent run of games, like Ricky said, The thing is, realistically, the only way to get all 3 of them in the team is play 3 at the back, and we know Ange is not going to do that. Or he might do it in very rare situations, but he's not going to do it. The only other way to get them playing together is move Vicky van der Ven to left back, but I think that takes away what he can provide as a centre back. So I think we saw it, didn't we, in a couple of games. He done very well there, but I just think we lose something at centre back when Mickey van der Ven's not there, because you just rely on his pace a lot of the time, and he's not the most attacking left back either. So he's not going to be able to come inside like Udogie does. And what are you going to do with Udogie if you do that? So unless Dragushin or Romero can play as a number 6, which some people have said, but again, it's kind of taking, especially Romero, out of their best position. So could you try Dragushin in a 6? I don't know if he's ever played there. I wouldn't mind seeing it. It'd be interesting if Ange did it in a pre-season friendly, but all depends on the transfer window, doesn't it? And which players go out. We expect Højbjerg to go out. What's happening with Skip, I don't know. I would imagine they'll keep him around because of the homegrown club trained aspect. It's I'd love to see a back 3 of those 3 and then have Porro and Udogie as wing backs, but Ange don't play that system. So I don't think we'll ever see it unless we're really chasing a game and needs must sort of thing.
Craig, you've been saying all season, and although I joked about it earlier, it's true that literally every podcast during last season you went on about Spurs signing Eze. Now, with Crystal Palace selling Elise to Bayern Munich, what do you genuinely think the chances are of Eze moving from Selhurst Park to the likes of Spurs? Do you think it is realistic that they are going to let both of them two go in the same window?
Well, from what I'm led to believe, Crystal Palace is the model is either bringing them through the academy and selling them on for a high price, or buying them cheap and selling them on for a high price. What Spurs used to be like, really. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them let Eze leave. I believe he's got a kind of a clause in his contract to say he can go for a certain amount of money. I think Palace will sell if the money's right. From everything you read, Eze's open to a move to Tottenham. A load of other clubs are going to be circling as well. But I think Tottenham would actually be a good move for him, to be honest with you. If he went to the likes of Man City, I don't think he'd get as much game time as he would at Spurs. So, and he's been in London all of his career, I believe. So I think it kind of makes sense for him. Obviously, we've seen his family at the club being wined and dined as well. So I don't know if his family are Tottenham fans or what. So, there's generally no smoke without fire is there in there. And I just think the Euros have kind of put everything on hold. I can't think of many players that have moved during the tournament. It's just all on hold till sort of the middle of July, or when the various countries go out of the competition. I think we'll start to see a bit more movement. But I would like to think there's a fair to middling chance of us getting Eze over the line. But obviously, the price has got to be right.
Well, you say about the price being right, Craig. All the reports we're seeing and reading at the moment is that his buyout is around £60 million. Now, there is a report come out today from the Football Insider that Spurs have actually saved had their wage bill cut by £27.5 million, which surely helps a deal like this to be done. Are you confident that Spurs will put £60 million on the table and say, there you are?
Well, last time they did that, we bought Tanguy Ndombele, and look what happened. But then again, I'd like to think that Eze is a bit more of a sure thing than Tanguy Ndombele. I've been a Spurs fan far too long, and know Daniel Levy far too long. Not personally, but how he deals with stuff. I'd be surprised if we paid 60. That's not how you would negotiate. You wouldn't just go in at 60 and say, there you go. I think they'll probably ask for 45 or 50 initially, knowing Tottenham, and perhaps a player swap deal of some kind thrown in. So it's going to be a tough deal to get done, isn't it? I think. But if we're led to believe what is true, that you read in that Eze is the main target, then I would hope that they would go all out to get him. And if Palace just don't want to sell, obviously it's three sides to this. It's the buying club, the selling club, and the player. If the player pushes, it helps, doesn't it? So I don't know enough about Eze's character. He doesn't seem to be the sort of lad that would really, really push for a move. But he would, hopefully his agent would let the club know that he wants to go. An offer's coming from Tottenham. Personal terms shouldn't be an issue as far as we're led to believe. So it's up in the air. But I can't see him letting him go for less than 50, Chris, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Simone, one player I want to talk about, and I'm really interested to get your views on him. Riccardo Calafiori, of course, in the Italian team at the Euros right now, 22 years old, plays for Bologna. Lots of Premier League interest, including Spurs at the moment. 5 caps for Italy. Last season, he played 30 times for Bologna, 2 goals, 5 assists. He's left-footed. He started out as a left-back. He's good attacking, powerful. Named in UEFA's 50 for the future back in 2021. Tell us more about him, how he would fit into this Spurs team if Spurs got this one over the line. And also talk me through how Spurs would give game time to Romero, Van de Ven, Dragushin and Calafiori, because you're thinking that is 4 top quality players there.
Yeah, you finished the question with the answer, Chris. First of all, Riccardo Calafiori is someone that in Italy, everyone is talking about him. Everyone, absolutely, because he is the modern centre-back. He knows how to play the ball. He's very elegant. He's very clever. He knows how to play the ball. He really is so brave. Look at the way Zaccagni scored the equalizer against Croatia a couple of days ago. Calafiori did something incredible, just like Mickey van de Ven did against Burnley in the last home game of the season for Spurs. So he's absolutely a player that you need to follow. But I strongly think that the priority for Spurs should be in other position, because of course you've got the likes of Cuti Romero. Radu Dragusin is still waiting for his game time. He deserves, just like you used to say a couple of minutes ago, game time. And there is of course Mickey van de Ven. So I think the priority should be in other position on the market. But Calafiori is someone that a profile that the big clubs are really tracking. His history is a little bit those guys. He grew up in Roma. He is a product of the ES Roma Academy. Once again, Jose Mourinho, a couple of years ago, decided not to trust him. His history is a little bit similar because he needed to start again. He decided to move to rearrange his career to Switzerland with Basel. So he started again. Then Bologna decided that he was the man for their backline. Thiago Motta is someone that loves to play new, entertaining football. He loves to have center backs that don't have fear, that are fearless. They want to play the ball from the back. They want to build from the back. And Calafiori was absolutely brilliant in terms of become that kind of player, because he started his career as a proper left back. Then he turned to be a proper center back. But of course, just like I used to say, his costs are very, very high, because we are talking about 45 million pounds at least. And for me, without Champions League football, Daniel Levy need to splash the cash in other positions.
Simone, how confident are you that he will sign for Spurs?
Calafiori?
Yeah.
10%, nothing more. Of course, there is Paratici behind, because Fabio Paratici is still someone that is working a sort of consultant for Daniel Levy, but I don't think his future will be Tottenham Hotspur.
10%. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. 10%. What about Eze, Simone? What percentage are you on Spurs signing Eze? Is it more than 10%?
60%, because this is the priority. The priority should be Eze, the proper number 9. So 60%, of course.
Ricky, let's come to you. How confident are you? Another classic. Eze.
Yeah.
Ricky, you would have heard Craig bang on about Eze week in, week out.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Eze, and I've said this on this channel many, many times. Even when he played for QPR, Spurs had the chance. We were linked with him so many times. We didn't go and buy him from Queen's Park Rangers. Of course, he went to Crystal Palace. I'd love to see him in a Spurs shirt. How confident are you that we are going to go out and buy household names like Eze? Because it is a year to the day that we bought James Maddison. Everyone, including me, was super excited when James Maddison walked through the door. We need another summer transfer window, exactly like last year, to really improve this team, to really rebuild this squad. And of course, as I've just said, earlier on, 17 days, we have our first pre-season friendly. So, we need some top quality players in for next season, particularly when we're playing Europa League as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We really do. And what has given me encouragement ever since Ange has been here is that they have been planning, and Langer has come in, that they have been planning, and they've been planning early, which majority of the time, apart from last season, I actually, to be fair, apart from when Paratici has come in to, be the guy that he has, and even though he's not kind of employed as the main man anymore, he's still there on consultancy. But ever since he has come in, they've had a plan, and they've kind of had a clear idea of where they want to be year in, year out. And the fact that we have been planning for this summer transfer window for at least 9 months, if not the year, gives me hope, and that's what I'm excited about. So if they've identified Eze as the main target, and Ange believes that he can be the guy that makes a difference, then I think that they're going to go all out to get him. But this is what a negotiation is. We can't just go out there and pay the money all the time. A negotiation is a back and forth, and Daniel and the club are going to try and get the best deal that they can for the club. So they're going to try it and do the wiggling, and they're going to try the back and forths, but they do have a plan. So I know that I trust in the scouting team right now. The only ones that haven't worked since Paratici has come in, I would say Brian Hill. But there's not too many. There's not too many that have come in that haven't really worked since Paratici's come in. So
would you say Emerson Royale was a success or not?
But did he come in under Paratici?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he? Okay. Well. I mean, he's been
he came in under Nuno as well.
Did he? Oh goodness. Yeah, the thing is that I think we bought him for Nuno for a specific role. He came in and done that. Then we changed manager a couple of months later, and Conte wanted a right wing back. He wasn't that. He tried to adapt. Then we've gone to an all-out attacking coach with inverted fullbacks, which is not really what he does. But I give him credit for all of the effort and all of the want to improve. I remember he done the hyperbolic chamber or something. Or was it the gas chamber or something like that? And then I remember him spending £1 million on his own coach to kind of, improve himself and kind of get to grips with what has been asked of him and what the roles are being asked of him. But he just doesn't seem to fit. I think he done great to be in the centre back position when we needed him. He's always been there to kind of when we've needed him. It's just the performances haven't been what we would really like, and there's been too many indifferent performances. But he seems like a person that's trying to do all of the things that are being asked of him, but not the thing that he's great at. And I think that's why he's going to move this summer. I think he's going to go to a club that appreciate him for the player that he is and what he can bring to that side. And then I think he can kick on. I think there is a player in there. I just don't think he's the right player for Tottenham right now. So has it been a success? No, but has it been a failure? I don't think so either. I think it's been one of those middle of the grounds. We tried. We brought him in. We tried. We've given him an option. He's given his best. It just hasn't worked out. Also, before I actually move on, to all of those listeners out there around the world, okay, Chris is wearing the new home top. We've got Craig wearing the away top from last season. But the winner of the tops tonight has to go to Simone, who is wearing the Tottenham Champions League t-shirt right now that looks damn sexy. So I just want to give him the best t-shirt of the night award. Do you know what I mean? So
what about this away shirt? You like this away shirt?
That away shirt is gorgeous, bruv. Do you know what? I didn't realize how good it looked.
I don't believe a word of it.
If they was to send me, I would wear that. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's one of those that looks better on the players than hanging up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right there, Craig.
Yeah.
Of course, it looks better on the players rather than our beer bellies. Of course.
There is that.
I've seen the third kit, and the third kit looks kind of cool. So with that old school crest, So let's see.
Craig, let's come to you. Were you surprised by the reports that Spurs are putting a bid to Aston Villa for Jacob Ramsey? Is he the sort of player that you want to see at Spurs?
Look, Jacob Ramsey is a decent player, but I was a bit surprised. But as I've said on here many times, Ange approves all transfers, so far we're led to believe. So there's something in that player that Ange obviously likes and wants. But personally, I'd like to see us get somebody a bit more of a bigger name, if you like. I know we've had big names before and they haven't worked, but I don't know. I just personally think, you know, with all due respect to Jacob Ramsey, I just think we should be looking at bigger players, more established players. So I know he's in that mould of the sort of age that Tottenham look at, but then on the flip side, some of the players we've signed that, you know, we didn't think would work have worked, and the ones that we thought would work didn't, like Ndombele, like Lo Celso. And, you know, I remember that summer when those two came, I was really excited for Ndombele, and I didn't know much about Lo Celso, but people were raving about him. You look at the YouTube clips, didn't you, like everybody else, and it's just never worked really, has it, for either of them? Lo Celso perhaps a bit more, but Ndombele, oh God, we could do a whole show about Tanguy and Ndombele. And what a waste of talent, honestly. He's 27 now, is he? Oh, such a shame. But no, go back to your original question. It was kind of a surprise to me that we were putting a bid for him. I didn't see that one coming.
Craig, earlier today, Fabrizio Romano has stated that negotiations are underway for Kyle Walker-Peters. He has said yes to going to West Ham United. Are you surprised that we didn't go in for him, particularly as he is, you know, counts as homegrown as well? You know, because we are looking for a right back. You know, with Emerson Royale probably going out the door to AC Milan.
Yeah, no, I think he also counts as club trained as well, doesn't he? Which obviously we're a bit short of, unless we promote some of the younger lads to the first team squad. So no, I'm not surprised at all. I think Kyle Walker-Peters is in the past. I think he's one of those players that we say, look, you performed on many years at Tottenham. You came through the academy. A decent right back, but I don't think he's at the level we should be looking at. I think probably he'll do very well at West Ham if he goes to West Ham, but I just don't think you should go. I think there's certain times you should go back for players like the likes of Bale and people like that. But Kyle Walker-Peters, I think he had his time at Tottenham. Wish him well. Seemed like a nice lad. Went to Southampton, had a decent spell at Southampton. But no, not for me. I think we should be looking at other players instead of Kyle Walker-Peters there.
Simone, let's come to you. What's the percentage chance of Jonathan David signing for Spurs? More or less than 10%?
Less, hopefully.
Who? No.
Well, that said it all. Jonathan David.
Jonathan David from Lille.
Yeah,
he's a top striker for in this moment. I don't think it's the right target, but he's a top striker. To be honest, for me, Spurs need other characteristics. Of course, at the moment, is the one that Spurs are really tracking, 70, 80%. But for me, you need someone more strong in terms of physicality. For me, the perfect option would be Ivan Toney. I'm not a big fan at all of Ivan Toney in terms of his behavior. But for me, as characteristics, is the striker that Spurs really need. Of course, because he already knew the Premier League, knows the Premier League, has got this kind of, he knows how to play also as a number 10 with his shoulders behind the goal. So I think that Ivan Toney should be the answer. Jonathan David, of course, he's a very good player. But I think that for me, is more as a winger that has a proper center forward.
Simone, it might be easier rather than I give you names. It might be easier if you give me names of what players you think have got more than a 75% chance of signing for Spurs. Have you got any names for us?
If he has I would say yes. If he has got that release clause, I would say yes. If he has got this release clause on his contract, if he hasn't, and we are still trying to discover to find out if there isn't, I would say him.
Simone,
Go Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. I know we've been linked with Dusan Vlahovic quite a few times over the years. Spurs. Any chance of that at all? Is that 10% or less as well?
From what we got to know, Dusan Vlahovic is someone that Thiago Motta, new Juventus manager, rates a lot. So I think that both Giuntoli, the sporting director of Juventus, and the new manager of Juventus want to keep him in Turin. So I would say even less than 10%.
Oh. You have to ask, didn't you?
Ricky, do you want to go?
Yeah, I do actually.
Try and find one a bit more than 20%. You know, give us a bit of hope.
We are at the start of the transfer window, so we need to see what's going to happen, the moves. So
you know, I've got one.
It's the beauty of June. It's the beauty of June. We are trying to track the news, but just at the start, guys, during the Euros.
Yeah. But I've got one it's a bit left field. I haven't heard us linked with him. It's just that somebody I kind of admire in the midfield is Cyprian Thuram. But I've heard links with Liverpool and I've heard links with Juventus as well. Have you heard anything about him? He plays for Nice.
The brother of Marcus Thuram. There are Juventus behind him, but of course he's a player that they've got huge admirer around Europe. Even Tottenham is on them. But for what I got to know at the moment, Juventus is very forward in terms of trying to jack a deal with Nice.
Okay, that's it.
Simone, we've heard, in the last couple of transfer windows that Ange Postecoglou is a big admirer of Chelsea captain Conor Gallagher. But the main newspapers, mainstream newspapers in the UK in the last couple of days have now stated that it is highly unlikely that Spurs will pay £50 million for the England international. What do you think will happen there? Do you think that we will see Conor Gallagher in a Spurs shirt, or is that the 10% club as well?
Which kind of answer would you like to? As I said,
it was a serious question, by the way.
No, there are, of course, Spurs will try to find a new number 6. I think that more Palhinha for Fulham is the right man for Spurs midfielders. Conor Gallagher, guys, I don't think he will cross London to join Tottenham. Then, of course, they need money. There are the PSL rules in Premier League. Maybe they will find a way to sell him if they are not going to extend his contract. But I don't think, even if Big Ange is a big admirer of him, I don't think he will betray Chelsea and marry and join Tottenham. This is the reason why. Then it's going to be very expensive. We are talking about a player of 45, 50 million pounds. And Spurs are tracking Eze. Spurs are tracking as well a new striker. I don't think without the Champions League money, without the Champions League football, they will arrange a deal to buy a number 8 like him. There are Bentancur that needs to show once again his quality. Bissouma needs to find consistency in his game. Maybe Pierre-Emile Højbjerg will go to other countries. Will get the door. And we've got the same Pape Sarr that's gonna be on his third year in Spurs. So I think that without Champions League football, Daniel Levy, that is not exactly the one that splashed the cash everywhere in the world, will have other priorities.
Simone, what are the Italians making of Antonio Conte back in Serie A, and what's the chances of him coming to Tottenham and buying some of our players?
I think he will be back to Tottenham to try to get Højbjerg, because Højbjerg was a soldier for him, if you remember, 3-for-3 alongside Bentancur. He is the manager that gave him the platform more than others to show his qualities. I'm not a big fan of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, to be honest, even he's playing quite well in these Euros, because I don't think he's a proper top Premier League player for top sides. But in Italy, he could be very, very, very good. Of course, Daniel Levy will not give him for free. Daniel Levy, for a player like Højbjerg that didn't feature at all last season, will ask for 18, 20 million pounds for a player that has got his contract that is going to be expiring at the end of next season. So we'll see what's going to happen. But if I need to imagine someone from Spurs back to Serie A, back to be managed again by Antonio Conte, I would say absolutely Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Ricky, let's come to you. In the last couple of days, Matt Wells was promoted to senior assistant coach, replacing Chris Davis, who has, of course, has gone to Birmingham City. Nick Montgomery and Sergio Raimondo has joined Ange Postecoglou as assistant coaches. What do you make of this news?
You know what? I think it's exciting. Firstly, to get the two through, that are Ange's friends that he knows of, it was Montgomery and Raimondo. The thing is with Raimondo, all those Only Fools and Horses fans, every time we hear Raimondo, we're going to think of the great Raimondo. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
Ricky, I've got to say, when I was doing my 60-second update, I had to do a second take because I was like, Raimondo, that's exactly what I thought. Only Fools and Horses.
Straight away.
Great Raimondo, 100%.
Straight away. Soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But what I would say, I think it's exciting that a manager and his assistant that have come from another team that believe in the philosophy, that have new ways of kind of teaching that philosophy, especially to the young players, and bringing those through. I think that is encouraging. Just because he had a poor time at Hibs, I don't think that's something that we should judge him on. I think Ange has always taken coaches in that, you know, that are good but need a little help. And I think under Ange's guidance, I think, who knows, it could be great, right? With Matty Wells, him being promoted, he's younger than Ryan Mason, and he's been promoted ahead of Ryan Mason, even though Ryan has been there as assistant coach and he's been there as a head coach, you know, caretaker coach for a while. And there's a couple of reasons that I think that they've done that. One, because, you know, Wells is a little bit younger, and he's very exciting from all of the reports that I've heard from Ali Gold or from anywhere around him, any article that's been written about him. He also done a podcast for Spurs as well, speaking about the tactics and stuff like that. And I think that's really, I think that's, Ed, you crack me up. All those Only Fools and Horses fans, I love you, man. But yeah, I think that he's very kind of exciting. But the reason that I think that they didn't promote Ryan Mason to assistant coach is because I think that he's probably going to be the next one to go for a manager's job. I think that they're putting Wells in there who can be there for at least 2 seasons with Ange. And I think that they're probably letting Ryan be a little bit looser in case a team comes in for him next season or at the end of the season going into the future season. So I think he's probably going to be the next one off of the block to go and get a manager's job. So that's why I think that they've done that. But I think it's exciting. I don't think you should be down on any type of coaches. You know, when Antonio Conte brought in his coaches, we didn't really know much about him. We just knew that Antonio trusted him. You know, the same with Mourinho. When Mourinho brought in his number 2, which I can't remember his name to, but he was a very exciting coach. And, you know, we still got poor football. So there's sometimes we can get wrapped up in things. Sometimes we can get wrapped up in going, oh, let's go for the big name coach that can do A, B, and C, or let's get Gianni Vio back and do the. Listen, Ange's got a plan. Ange's been in this game for a long time, and if he trusts these people and he's brought them in for a reason. So I'm going to trust him. You know, he's a football man. He knows what he wants, and the one thing that he also knows is what he doesn't want. So he's bringing people in that can help us, that can push us forward, and that can achieve the levels that Ange wants to achieve. We just need to see it now, and we need to see it on the field.
Simone, can I come to you on this one? Stefan writes here, I'm a little bit worried about the lack of signings, lots of media speculation. What are your thoughts? I'll ask you this, but let me say what I want to say first. I just think that a lot of deals will be done after the Euros because that's just the way it's going to be, isn't it? When you've got a major competition going on.
Yeah, definitely. Also in Italy, the situation is like that. In England, it's just about Chelsea and Aston Villa, maybe right now, that are trying to do something. In Italy, just one team, just one club, and it's Como, Cesc Fabregas, new promoted side that are trying to do something. But the big teams are completely stalled right now. They are they are in transitional days, so they are waiting for the new months. So everyone is stopped right now.
Craig, let's come back to you. Of course, the last week or so I've been in Germany, so I haven't seen that much coverage on ITV of Ange Postecoglou as a pundit. What have you made of him?
Honestly, he was fantastic. He's such a natural. Him and Roy Keane together, I reckon they're so like similar. You can tell the sense of humour is similar. I just thought he did really well. It's fantastic. Really interested insights into it. Nothing really said that we didn't know about him or hear him say, but he was asked a few times words to the effect of what would you do with this team, or what would you like to be seen done with this England team, and he answered like you would expect him to answer. He said the players need to, I'm paraphrasing, but let them go out and play, let them go out and do what they do, let them off the leash essentially. And he was absolutely, I don't know if he's doing any more games. I think that's probably it. I think he's done 3 or 4. But honestly, he could, if being a manager fails, he could easily have a career as a pundit, because it was just natural for him to do it. Really good speaker. Good to see him. He's very relaxed, just having a laugh really, and just talking about the thing he loves, and that's football. It was weird almost to see him, because I say he didn't say anything we didn't know, but he was obviously talking a lot more about just generic stuff rather than just Tottenham. So to hear his insights into football, it was really, really good to hear. Yeah, really enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah. Last question for you all is a simple one. 2 parts to it. Your expectations for the transfer window and your expectations for next season. Craig, let's start with you.
If Spurs don't do a video edit welcome him in the great Raimondo, I'm sorry, that really tickled me, because I thought exactly the same as you thought, and oh my god, the great Raimondo. I wonder if anybody there working at Tottenham's name's Raquel as well. Anyway, look, people watching all around the world, and Simone probably doesn't know what we're talking about. It's a absolute classic British comedy program called Only Fools and Horses, and they were 2 characters in it, from the Jolly Boys Out in 1988 or something like that. When it, absolute classic. Anyway, I digress. What do I want from the transfer window? I just want to see a strengthen the squad in the key positions that we all know we need the players, because if we're going to compete in the Europa League, we're going to hopefully be playing nearly 60 games next year. So we're going to need a stronger squad, a bigger squad, a more reliable squad, 2 decent players in every position. I want to see the players go out that don't want to be at the club. The Højbjergs, the Emerson Royals. Perhaps I'm asking for a bit much, but I'm a bit like you, Chris. I think we share a lot of views, and no matter how bad it gets, there's still that glimmer of hope. I know, Ricky, you're like that as well. You try to find the positives, and at the start of every season, you think, what if? Can this be our year? Can this be our year? And I always go into the season like that. Then ultimately I'm let down by the end of August, but hey, you've got to have faith, haven't you? And hopefully Ange he's building something now, and hopefully the club will get behind him. So that's all I could hope for, that the club's going to back him, get him the players he wants, get the players out he doesn't want, and start seeing Tottenham push on to win one of those words that begins with T that we don't talk about on this channel much.
Well, we should be talking about it. We should be. Hopefully we will be a lot more. Simone, what are you expecting in this transfer window? How many players do you think will come in the door? How many players do you think will go out the door? And how many players do you think will be speculating about from now until the end of the window? More than 10%?
My expectation is to see Daniel Levy hiring a new set-piece coach. Because if we don't hire a new set-piece coach, we can talk about Eze, Tony, Jonathan David, Calafiori, which one do you wish? But if you still continue to concede goals on set pieces, guys, there is no future. There is no player that can improve the situation. So, 4 or 5 players, Chris. 4 or 5 players. Of course, right-footed left back, which can play also on the right. A new number 6, a new number 10, a new wing, and of course, a striker. A strong striker, because Spurs need a striker.
Ricky, what about your expectations in the transfer window? And I also wanted to ask your opinion about Jamie Donnelly. It's been reported by BBC Sport today that he could be on his way on loan to Oxford, which I think would be a fantastic move for him. I know some people would argue saying that we're in the Europa League. You know, some of these youngsters could and should get opportunities in these competitions. It's going to be interesting. You know, a number of these youngsters have done extremely well in Premier League 2, last season. But what is best for their development? Is it better that players like Donnelly go out on loan, or do they just get one-off chances in the Europa League or League Cup? You know, last 20 minutes or so, if Spurs have got the job done. You know, what are your expectations overall?
Let me start with the loans and the youth. I think that youth team that we have there, there's so many dynamite players. The one thing that we don't want them to do is stagnate, right? We don't want them hanging about, because we've had that. We've had examples of that. We've had Skippy, we've had Tanganga, we've had Carl Walker-Peters. That all of these players, they should have, and Skippy, he went on loan and had a successful time at Norwich, but he should have continued that development, and he stagnated. There was times that he came in under Conte that he looked good, but he never kind of got that consistent run or put his stamp on that place. He didn't grab that position as his own. So that's the one thing that I don't want to do. I don't want these dynamite players that have done so well last year to stagnate. I think that all of them should go out on loan. And I'm talking like a year, maybe 2-year loan. I know 2-year loans are not going to happen, but I think that a lot of them should go out on loan and they should develop. I'll give you the example of Carl Walker. When Carl Walker went out there and he went out on loan and then he was at Aston Villa, it was only then when he was in a Premiership side, playing against Premiership teams and playing the way that he played, that everybody at Tottenham, all of us fans were like, oh my God, can we get him back, and can we get him back into the side? And I think that's how you get in this Tottenham side. You go out on loan, you earn your stripes, you show them your consistency, you develop. And it's okay if you fail as well, because look at Harry Kane. How many loans did he have that didn't they went okay, but they didn't go great. So It's all about that development. It's all about learning. Sometimes you learn more from a mistake. Sometimes you learn more from a failure and what not to do than what to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about that development. I think that every single one of those youngsters, if we can, not all of them, I know, but the majority, if we can get them out there on loan, I think it's better for them, first and foremost, to play week in, week out, to play real football that has something at stake. You know, when you're playing, I've often heard over the years that when young players go to sides in the Championship or in League One or stuff like that, everybody around them that are signed to that club, that belong to that club, they're all fighting for their lives and their houses and their families and their lifestyles. You know what I mean? And it's serious business. And I think sometimes you can get a bit mollycoddled in the youth system and kind of get used to the nice showers and the nice training ground and the fluffy pillows in the lodge and stuff like that. Sometimes it's good to go out there and be in a bit of a rough environment and earn your stripes. And I think that is the best thing to do for a lot of our youngsters. I would take maybe 2 or 3 youngsters to develop within the Tottenham squad, so they're the ones that will get a couple of games here and there. For instance, like Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's really young. He's amazing, but he's really young. So someone like him, if he was to come into the side, he's all right getting a couple of games, because he's going to develop using those little bits of time. That's going to actually help him at his age and at his development playing real football. So someone like that, I would say I'd keep. But those that are around 18, 19, 20 even, I would definitely send them on a loan and let them go out there and earn them stripes. I think we've got a couple of really fantastic attackers. We've got a couple of fantastic defenders out there. Phillips, Dorrington. I know Dorrington's coming back from injury and stuff like that. And they need to get out there and they need to be playing. They need to be nurtured. They need to be under coaches that believe in the same philosophy as Ange, and that they get coached roughly in the same, with the same energy and the same gusto, so that when they come back, they have definitely got a chance to kind of stake a claim for first team football and to be in the first team squad. What do I expect from the summer transfer window? What I expect and what I hope is that we continue the redevelopment of this squad. We have, in recent seasons, started to get rid of the quote-unquote deadwood, those that have been around and those that have kind of stagnated, and those that don't fit the system no more. We've got rid of and we've replaced, and we need to continue that. If we can use our financial position and all of the concerts and all of the money that we've kind of got, and the budget that we already have as well, and use our financial might to kind of push us up there, I would love us to go out there and get a couple of statement signings. But then I don't need every one of those players to be £100 million. We know it's not going to happen anyway. We saw how clever they were with the likes of Vicario and Mickey van der Ven last year, and how much they paid for him. And what we got for that money. We've already got a lot back for our money, and we're hoping that that's going to continue, right? So as long as they go for the targets that they need, I personally would love them to go all out for Nico Williams. I don't think it's going to happen. I think everybody's on the case right now.
That is exactly the question that I wanted to end with Simone. Simone, what percentage chance have we got Nico Williams?
I don't want to answer, Chris. I don't want to. A little bit more than 10%. A little bit more than 10%. But there are the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, all them are on Nico Williams. So Spurs need to find their way. But there is a release clause, £50 million. So we'll see what Daniel Levy will do.
That's a really polite no, isn't it?
Yeah, but that someone like that who's a game changer, and I think Eze gets in that bracket as well as somebody who is a game changer. I think we need a couple of those game changing and big boy signings. And we know what positions. We know number 9. We know we need another striker to not alongside, but to give competition to Richarlison. We know we need a winger. We know we need a 6. You know, Edison, is it Edison from Atlanta that we were linked with? I think he is really good as well.
The difference between Nico Williams and Eze is that Nico Williams expresses himself the best on the left, and he can play only on the left. A difference of Eze can play on the right, in the middle, as a number 7, as a number 10, as a number 11. So he can play in all the positions of the attack.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's 9.
Yeah. So I do think we need a monster 6 as well. So I'm going to say 5 signings, 6 at the most. And fingers crossed, 2 or 3 of them are real big boys and real big game changers that can take us on to the next level. We have to keep progressing. We have to keep improving. And we have to keep changing this side and recycling the side to keep everybody on their toes, so that we can go out there and not dream about the big things, but go and achieve the big things.
Can I ask you all, just a yes or a no? Would it be a successful season next year if Spurs finished 4th and we didn't win a trophy? So we got into Champions League for the following season. Is that a success for you?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it, Rick.
For me, it depends on the season itself. So if we've gone out of the cup competitions and we've been challenging for the title, we've been challenging those top 4, those top 3, and we end up finishing 4th. Okay, cool, I'll take it, because again, even though it's a little bit of progress, it's still progress, right? But it's all about the way that we do it. But we all know that we want trophies, but we know how our trophies are to come by. How many trophies have Man City won in the time that Pep's been there? Do you know what I mean? It can be done, as Man United showed. It can be done, but it's about us. It's all about us. And I think that Ange is going to gear us up for going for a trophy next season, regardless. So I don't think that's going to happen. Would it be progress? Yes, because we've finished better than we have this year. So we have stepped forward, but it'd only be a minor step forward. What we need to see is performances. What we need to see is intention. It's the same thing that we're asking England to do right now. We need to see intention. It's not just getting a point or getting 3 points. We need to see intention. And we saw that as Tottenham fans in those first 10 games. Now we need to see it over a season and show people that Tottenham is the team to be scared of. Do you know what I mean? That we are a dangerous side. And you know, if you're coming to White Hart Lane, or if we're coming to see you, that you're scared, you're worried about us, and we ain't worried about you.
Here's a comment from Jonesy here. 4 to 5 quality additions this summer gives us the platform for top 4 and a trophy next season. This was our brains in our pub quiz team for TalkSport Euro quiz, wasn't it, Ricky?
Craig was the man, though. Craig was the man. Craig studied, and I've got to give it up to Craig. I mean, I don't know what I was doing.
You was just there for like.
Yeah.
He was there to look pretty.
It's just the face. It's when that bloke come over and he was talking to us and he just looked at Rick and went, "Fat boy," and he went, "Oh, I don't mean you're fat. I don't mean you're fat." It was really funny.
Listen, they all say it with love. So love to everyone that we met that night.
Yeah.
Actually, Ricky, we ought to give a big shout out to John, who's got a photograph of me, you, and him on his fridge. So every time he goes to get a beer from the fridge, he sees me and Ricky. So sorry about that, John.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to John's missus as well, because you when he said that there was a picture, I was like, okay, cool, but it's massive. It's a massive A3 picture. Do you know what I mean? So that is a bit much, but no, love out to John and his missus, and it's great that we're always there when you're cracking open a beer.
Yeah. I always think of you when I'm having a beer as well. Always have too many when you're around. Craig, if we finish 4th, would that be a success? Would you be happy?
Oh, he didn't. You know, I was trying to think of my answer there as Ricky was giving his one-word answer that you asked for, and it obviously was slightly more than one word. I have to say it wouldn't be a success, but it would be progression. But if the saying, you was transported to the future, you picked up the paper from the day after the Premiership finished, and you looked at the league table and Spurs are 4th. You don't know who won the cups or anything like that. Would I take that? Yeah, we're back in the Champions League. But as Ricky said, he's 100% right. I want to see progression next year. I want to see the team playing more like Ange wants us to play. I want us to have a better run in the cups. Let's have a crack at it. Let's have a crack at the cups as well. Because we didn't this season. 41 games, just not acceptable. Can't happen again. So, yeah. Would it be a success? I suppose it would be progression. Let me just say that. I wouldn't say it was 100% success, but I just want to see things moving in the right direction next season.
Simone, I asked you a slightly different question to the others. Obviously, Spurs are in the Europa League next season. How do you think that Ange will approach the Europa League? Because when they put out this promotional video about the away shirt, it said destination Bilbao. So they're clearly wanting to target the Europa League. What? Actually, let's talk in percentage terms. I know you like to do that. Percentage terms of Spurs perhaps winning the Europa League.
Europa League is tough, man. It's difficult, guys. It's not easy because it's so long. You play on Thursday, so it's so long. I would say 50. Come on, 50% of chance to be in Bilbao. But if you look at the launch of the away kit that you've got behind your shoulders, Bilbao could mean Europa League final or maybe Nico Williams. Let's guess. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. So this is,
I'm glad we finished the podcast with Simone saying 50%. That's pretty good by his standards. 50%. Wow. Simone, thank you so much, and hopefully we will get drawn against one of your Italian teams, and hopefully we will see you in England, or I will see you in Italy next season. What are you up to during the summer, and what can people expect from you next season?
In summer, I don't know. Maybe in September, October, I will be back in London. We'll see. Of course, we'll see. Thank you, guys. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to be with you. Always. Big hug.
You know, you're going to get the nickname of 10% Simone now, don't you?
Okay. Okay.
Well, we know that Ricky is always at 100% and nothing ever less. So, Ricky, thank you so much for joining us again. What are you up to at the moment?
Oh, my friend, it's always an honour and a pleasure to be on. It's been great to have a giggle with you and just chat Tottenham and chat football. Missed it. What am I up to at the moment? I am on a couple of auditions. I've got an audition Tuesday. I just had one Wednesday for another thing. I've got meetings. I'm trying to get a lot of things moving at the moment. So, yeah, it's been busy time. So every day, every 2 days, I'm doing something, whether it's a meeting. Last night, I went to a networking thing. So trying to keep really, really busy. So... And hopefully there's some exciting things on the horizon, but we'll have to wait and see.
Ricky is everywhere, even on people's fridges. Craig, thank you so much for joining us again. Where can people find you?
Well, if anybody's got me on their fridge, I'll be pleased to know. So please let me know. I can supply some fridge magnets. We can get them made up if you want. God, no! Can you imagine? Seeing me
merch. Craig wants channel merch with him as a fridge magnet.
Channel merch. Coys, Daniel. At DM9 on X. Simone. I don't obviously know 10 is 10 in Italian. Yeah. What's the percentage? Brilliant. What's the percentage? What's the word for percentage in Italian?
10. Brilliant.
No, yeah, 10 is 10, but what's percentage? What? How do you say percentage? If we were saying 10% dell'uomo.
10%. Without the but with the in as the final letter of the word. 10%.
10% dell'uomo. Oh, like it.
Craig, I think on this podcast, Craig, I think you should do the outro with those words. Come on.
Yes. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and our special guest from Italy, all the way, is 10% dell'uomo. Yeah. There's gonna be players that are gonna be absolutely mint. They're gonna be a bigger chance of being 10%. They're gonna be molto bella. Come on. So we'll say ciao to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Ciao.